Right now, on to the point. California's redistricting battle.
The city of Lodi, currently all in the same congressional district, is set to be split between 3 districts if voters approve the redrawn maps on November 4th. What folks here are saying about it.
The nation's top health official in the hot seat.
You're a charlatan. That's what you are.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. defending his decision to fire the CDC director and changes to vaccine policies. A daycare employee under arrest, accused of abusing a child. Tonight, the fear about more possible victims. After months without a crucial bridge connection to the Sacramento River, city leaders now have a date for its reopening. Good evening. As always, thank you so much for joining us on To The Point. I'm Alex Bell, and of course, we start with the redistricting battle once again tonight. 2 months from this exact day, Californians will have the chance to weigh in on Governor Newsom's redistricting plan. Proposition 50 will be on the November 4th special election ballot, and it's really asking voters to approve a constitutional amendment to allow new congressional maps to be drawn, temporarily bypassing the independent redistricting committee. Now, the goal is to pick up 5 more Democratic seats in Congress in response to a Republican redistricting push in Texas. Now, the proposal is sparking debate within communities that would be impacted. I want to bring in ABC 10's Becca Hodbecker because she was out in Lodi today, where communities could be seeing some big changes, right, Becca?
Yeah, Alex, if California voters approve the redrawn maps to go into effect for the 2026 midterm elections, some parts of the state will see little to no change in their congressional representation. But we noticed in the proposed maps that's not the case for the city of Lodi. Welcome to Lodi, an agricultural town in San Joaquin County with a population of about 70,000 people, who all currently live within Congressional District 9, represented by Democrat Josh Harder. But if California voters approve the redrawn maps, Lodi will be split between 3 different congressional districts. Here at the intersection of West Kettleman Lane and Church Street, neighbors will span Districts 7, 8, and 9, all currently represented by a Democrat. And the maps are drawn such that a Democrat is expected to continue representing each of these 3 districts. District 7 would include Elk Grove, part of Sacramento and Placerville. District 8 would include much of the Delta, plus Vacaville, Fairfield, Vallejo, and Richmond. And District 9 would include part of Stockton, Tracy, and Modesto.
Honestly, it doesn't make sense to me.
Stephanie Kelly is a Lodi native.
I've lived on different sides of Lodi growing up.
She now lives along the dividing line that would put her family in Congressional District 8.
Just from a jurisdiction point of view, that doesn't make sense. Like, why wouldn't you keep the community together so we can do what's best for said community instead of, well, here's your line and here's my line, because really it just feels shady.
She says she wants more information, candid, honest information, before voting in November's special election.
Give us a compelling argument for both sides, and then we can make an informed decision. Like, I'm an RN, and part of my job is in making sure that my patients have all the information, the pros and the cons, before they make a decision for their body. I want to be able to make an informed decision. We spoke with several other voters in this neighborhood who said they didn't want to go on camera, but they are aware of the potential split in Lodi, and at this point they want more information before making up their minds.
What I am seeking tonight is a formal resolution that the city is against this redistricting.
On Wednesday, a simple majority of Lodi City Council members voted to approve a resolution opposing redistricting. A strong message, though a symbolic one, as it's ultimately up to voters statewide on November 4th.
Congressman Harder has represented all of Lodi, allowing our elected officials, our business leaders, our community groups to work in a unified partnership with him and his staff. Establishing a strong and informed working relationship with one congressional member is already a challenge for part-time council members. Doing so with 3 is nearly impossible.
On Tuesday, current Representative Josh Harder said in a statement, "I absolutely believe Lodi should be kept whole. As our state considers a response to Texas, my bottom line is that any change to our maps should ultimately be decided by the voters so that they can make their voices heard loud and clear." Now, the San Joaquin Board of Supervisors also voted on whether to formally oppose the redistricting plan. That was at the County Supervisors meeting last week. Unlike the Lodi City Council, a simple majority of supervisors decided not to formally oppose it, saying that decision should be left up to the voters. Alex?
All right, Becca, thank you for that. And with exactly 2 months until the special election, Congressman Kevin Kiley is urging the Speaker of the House to bring his bill to the floor for a vote. H.R. 4889 would prevent states from mid-decade redistricting. Kiley introduced this bill last month when Governor Gavin Newsom started hinting at a possible special election. Now that the election is happening with proposed maps going out to voters, Kiley says it's important his bill passes to stop this type of behavior from happening nationwide.
They're trying to blow my district into 6 different pieces. That's not the way this is supposed to work. It's really bad for representation, and I believe that's a widely shared view across both the Democrat and Republican conference.
Governor Newsom has repeatedly said the way California is going about redrawing these congressional maps is transparent because the voters get the final say. Republican gubernatorial candidate Steve Hilton filed a federal lawsuit today challenging California's redistricting plan, which he calls unconstitutional. Now, the lawsuit claims it violates the principle of one person, one vote and shreds the guarantee of equal protection under the law. Now, Hilton goes on to say the Constitution does not say one person, one vote. Sometimes it does not say one person, one vote only for the majority party. It says one person, one vote for everyone. Hilton emphasized that the lawsuit is about fairness, not partisanship. But Missouri is the latest state to try its hand at redistricting. Democrats are doing what they can to stop it, of course, but Republicans hold supermajorities in the state legislature. Now, protesters showed up at the steps of the state capitol in Jefferson City today, expressing their dismay at the call to redraw Missouri's congressional map. But inside, lawmakers got to work filing a new map that splits up Kansas City, leading to one more likely Republican seat in Washington, D.C. Newly appointed redistricting committee chair Richard West says this is about more accurately representing Missouri values in the federal government.
We do listen, and we create and we work on things up here with what our people are telling us.
But their Democratic colleagues vowed to make the process very hard for Republicans, attempting to stop the House from meeting without all members present.
We did not have a quorum here today, and they were conducting business in the People's House without a quorum, which is unconstitutional.
If all goes according to plan, the new map could be passed in about 2 weeks. Candidates for California governor are trying to get attention for what's been a slow start in the race to replace termed-out Gavin Newsom. You'll likely see a new ad from candidate Antonio Villaraigosa, who's also the former mayor of Los Angeles. Reporter Monica Madden caught up with him just today.
I don't run from tough problems. I solve them.
In his first primetime television ad, Democratic candidate for governor Antonio Villaraigosa aims to claim the affordability lane.
California's too expensive. As governor, I'm going to do something about it.
The former Assembly Speaker and L.A. mayor firing shots at 2 of his challengers over their stances on single-payer health care insurance.
And veto any billion-dollar tax hike on working families, like the one they'll sign.
You took a swipe, a seeming swipe at 2 of your competitors, Katie Porter and Javier Becerra, in your ad, but you did not name them directly. Do you want to talk more about what was left unsaid?
Well, I think it was pretty clear. I'm not for a $1 billion tax hike.
A consultant for Javier Becerra's campaign telling ABC 7 News, quote, "It's not surprising to see a candidate who is falling behind take a swing at the candidate surging ahead." Katie Porter's campaign pointed to her remarks on this topic at a Politico Policy Summit last week.
I don't think it's realistic in the next couple years for the state to push forward on that.
Villaraigosa isn't the first contender to hit the airwaves.
I'm the businessman, Donnie, you pretend to be. I build and repair brands, you wreck them.
For weeks, entrepreneur Stephen Klubeck running ads targeting President Donald Trump.
Trump is for they, them. Stephen Klubeck is for you.
This may be the most wide open governor's race that we've seen in California in half a century.
Political experts like Dan Schnur say, in this crowded field, candidates have to stand out.
They recognize they're not nearly as well known as they would like to be. And so by investing in TV ads much sooner than candidates normally would, they're hoping to jumpstart that process.
Noting the early ads are intentional in a race with a lot of distractions.
You got to get attention. You've got to get support for your own campaign. And right now, the proposition is a major obstacle for all of the candidates, particularly given that they lack the name ID.
Still ahead onto the point, after months without a crucial connection to the Sacramento River, city leaders now have a date for reopening of the Del Rio Trail. And later, a heated hearing on Capitol Hill as Robert F. Kennedy Jr. defends his decision to fire the CDC director.
And temperatures going down into the 80s. Starting tomorrow, we have a stretch of 80s and below normal temperatures that'll take us into next week. But we also have a big pattern change just around the corner. We'll look at Futurecast after the break.
But first, another headlines tonight. The firefight continues in the foothills. More than 13,000 acres have burned across parts of Tuolumne, Stanislaus, and Calaveras counties due to the TCU September Lightning Complex fire, which is currently composed of 22 distinct fires. Evacuation orders and warnings are still in effect. Florida prosecutors are calling for records from a Stockton truck driver's employer after a deadly crash that killed 3 people last month. The subpoena orders White Hawk carriers to turn over Harjinder Singh's hiring and qualification records. Investigators say Singh caused the crash by making an illegal U-turn. The company is ordered to appear before a statewide prosecutor in Tampa later this month. Italian fashion designer Giorgio Armani has died. In a statement, the Armani Group said he died peacefully, surrounded by loved ones. The Giorgio Armani brand launched in 1975, and his menswear quickly found U.S. success. It became routine to see stars wearing Armani clothing on the red carpet.
Well, the wait is finally over for cyclists and runners. Today, Mayor Kevin McCarty gave an update on the status of the Del Rio Trail and Bridge project. The bridge that's been closed since the trail opened in May of 2024 will reopen in the fall. Mayor McCarty today speaking about the importance of the connection between the trail and the Sacramento River.
Sacramento prides herself on people that want to get out there and exercise, enjoy Mother Nature, and maybe get downtown or to work without having to get in their automobile. And the Del Rio Trail is an important connection.
Work began in July to remove and replace the bridge after the city determined the bridge was not built to the required specifications. All right, let's get a check of your forecast with meteorologist Brendan Minchef. You said it was 80 as a high today. Am I hearing
87.
that? Oh,
We're
87.
In the 80s,
okay.
Yeah. But if we want to talk about the longer term forecast, I do have some low 80s on the horizon for next week. Again, more on that in a second. But 87 in Sacramento. Elsewhere in the valley was in the 90s. 90 in Stockton, 90 in Tracy and Modesto, 93 Marysville, 95 up in Oroville, upper 80s, low 90s in the foothills, upper 70s and low 80s in the high country. Temperatures at the moment, 78 in Sacramento, 77 in Elk Grove, 85 Stockton, 87 Modesto. Still warm where we're not seeing as strong of a breeze, 95 up in Calusa. We have a nice delta breeze going at this hour, especially down through the delta and starting to work its way into places like Sacramento and Stockton, where we see sustained winds right now of 10 to 15 miles per hour, but we have seen some gusts through the delta closer to 30, and right now we see gusts in Stockton of 20 miles per hour and 26 miles per hour in Sacramento. So air quality in the valley, thanks to that delta breeze, is good, but we are still seeing that moderate to sensitive, the yellows and orange colors there for that reduced air quality due to all the fires. We're seeing that in the foothills and the Sierra still at this hour. As we look at that smoke forecast, things should get a little bit better as we head deeper into the evening, but then we're going to see some more smoke building back in as we get to sunrise tomorrow before air quality will get a little bit better headed through Friday at lunchtime. A cool start to Friday morning. We are going to be in those upper 50s across much of the valley to about 60 degrees, a lot closer to where we should be for the time of year. Friday afternoon, though, below normal. Much of the valley is going to be below 90 degrees tomorrow. I've got 86 in Sacramento, 87 Stockton, and 89 in Modesto. It's all part of a pattern change as high pressure moves out and a low pressure moves in for early next week. That is going to bring us some more rain chances. And I don't just mean in the high country. We're dry through the weekend, but then look at Monday. We've got some rain chances across the far northern part of the state. Tuesday, we could have some light showers in the capital region and a similar setup on Wednesday. So we're tracking Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for much cooler weather and a chance for some showers as well. Alex?
All right, Brendan, thank you. Right after the break, Mather daycare shut down after an employee is arrested on child sex abuse charges. And another state joins California and other western states in a partnership taking on public health after sharp criticism of the CDC. A daycare employee is under arrest tonight, accused of abusing a child in his care, and detectives say there are likely more victims. Mather Child Care Center in Mather is now closed. A notice is posted on the front door with a suspended license amid the investigation into their employee, 26-year-old Gokhan Bogsy. The Sacramento Sheriff's Office arrested him on August 22nd on multiple counts of child sexual abuse charges. According to the Sheriff's Office, Bogsy is a Turkish national who was previously removed from the U.S. by Customs and Border Protection in November of 2023 and again in September of 2024. Now, the facility primarily served members of the Turkish immigrant community, as investigators worry there may be more victims.
It's good to be aware. It's good to pay attention to differences in your child. It's good to ask some questions about things that raise red flags.
If you have any information or you think your family may be affected, you are asked to contact the Sheriff's Office. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was in the hot seat today in Capitol Hill amid calls for his resignation after the shakeup at the CDC. Karen Kafa has the latest from Capitol Hill tonight.
Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. defending his decision to fire the director of the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
We need bold, competent, and creative new leadership at CDC. People able and willing to chart a new course.
The hearing before the Senate Finance Committee was scheduled to focus on the Trump administration's 2026 healthcare agenda. But on the heels of Kennedy's ouster of former CDC Director Susan Monarez, Democrats quickly slammed his leadership and his longtime claims against vaccines and how that undermines public trust.
Sir, you're a charlatan. That's what you are. You're the ones who conflate chronic disease with the need for vaccines.
Two Republican physicians expressing concern about the Trump administration's changes to vaccine policy. John Barrasso of Wyoming saying Kennedy isn't upholding vaccine standards as promised during confirmation.
The public has seen measles outbreaks, leadership at the National Institute of Health questioning the use of mRNA vaccines. Americans don't know who to rely on.
Bill Cassidy of Louisiana critical of new FDA limits on COVID-19 vaccines.
I would say effectively we're denying people vaccine.
Kennedy argued current policy doesn't deny anyone a COVID-19 booster, although it is now state dependent, and he defended his controversial moves to reshape government public health agencies.
If we don't end this chronic disease, we are the sickest country in the world. That's why we have to fire people at CDC. They did not do their job.
Secretary Kennedy was also criticized for saying he didn't know how many Americans died of COVID during the pandemic. The secretary questioned the data around coronavirus deaths and whether COVID vaccines actually saved lives. According to the CDC, more than 1.2 million Americans died from COVID-19 during the pandemic. And one day after the launch of the West Coast Health Alliance, Hawaii is now joining California, Oregon, and Washington in the new public health partnership. The governors call it a response to what they describe as the Trump administration's destruction of the CDC. Now, Hawaii's governor, Dr. Josh Green, sent a statement about the partnership, saying in part, quote, "As an island state, we understand how critical it is to protect our communities from preventable disease. By joining the West Coast Health Alliance, we are giving Hawaii's people the same consistent, evidence-based guidance they can trust to keep their families and neighbors safe." Next, a massive jackpot and another chance to strike it rich. The Powerball prize continues to grow after nobody won last night's drawing. Well, before we go, I bought a couple of Powerball tickets this week, and obviously I didn't win, because if I did, I'd be anchoring this show from a beach somewhere right now instead of in the studio. But don't worry, the dream is still alive. The Powerball jackpot is soaring once again. Nobody hit the grand prize in Wednesday night's drawing, so now the jackpot has climbed to $1.7 billion. While no one took home the jackpot, more than a dozen people did win at least $1 million. And that includes two brand new millionaires right here in California, with winning tickets sold in Bakersfield and Riverside. More than 3.2 million people matched just the Powerball, which, what does that get you? a crisp $4 prize. And my assistant news director, get this, she's actually one of the 1.1 million people who also won $8. So I told her Starbucks is definitely on her. And here's something that you may not know. Every Powerball ticket sold doesn't just give you a chance to become a multimillionaire. It also helps California's public schools. Every $2 ticket, about 80 cents goes straight into education. And just from this current Powerball run, all sales have already generated more than $114 million for California schools. Now, the odds of winning the jackpot, about 1 in 292 million, but look, you never know, and it's just $2. And that drawing, the next drawing, is Saturday night at 7:59 p.m. And tickets, again, just still $2. So if you play, good luck. Please let us know. Brendan and I have been watching this very, very closely. And if you do win, let me know what you plan on doing with the money. I would be very curious to know, because Brendan and I have already planned how we're going to spend the money, right, Brendan? Exactly. All right. As always, thank you so much for watching and for always inviting us into your home. If you have something that you think me and the team should be looking into, please, 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 you can always reach out to us at any time. You can always email us at tothepoint@abc10.com. And don't forget, you can always download our free ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app to catch up on any news that you might have missed. Have a great night. I'll see you back here tomorrow.